Someone left a comment on my video. They said, and I quote it directly, "If you don't do any credit checks, you are a shitty bank. What happens if you default on the payment?" Welcome back to another episode of Almost Wealthy. That's actually the right question. It's just framed the wrong way. The person that's asking this is thinking about borrowing the way most people were taught to think about. And that's exactly what I want to break down today. But before we start, I want to give thanks to people sponsoring the show, to David S., Brian M., Thomas M., John, Candadia H., Jaden L., Kevin G., and James G. I want to thank you sincerely. Appreciate the support. Thank you very much. When any lender decides to give you any money, there are only two things they can use as a guarantee. One is your character. The other is what you own. Character-based lending is what most people experience. Your credit score, your income, your job history, your debt-to-income ratio. The lender is betting on you'll pay them back because you have a track record of paying things back. Collateral-based lending is completely different. The lender doesn't care about your history. They care about what you're putting up as a security. If you don't pay, they take the thing. An M1 margin loan is a second type. They're not checking your credit because your portfolio is. Here's how this actually works. When I borrow on margin from my M1, I'm borrowing against the value of my portfolio. My stocks are sitting in the account. They don't go anywhere. They are the collateral. M1 knows if I stop paying, they can sell shares from my account to cover the loan balance. They have direct access to my assets. No court order, no collections agency, no judgment required. They just sell. That's why they don't need to verify my income. My W-2 means nothing to them because my W-2 isn't backing the loan. My portfolio is. There's no traditional default on a margin loan. You don't miss payments and you don't get sent to collections. M1 has one rule. If your LTV, your loan to balance, as a percentage of your portfolio value, hits 40%, they can start liquidating shares. That's the margin call threshold. All brokers are different. Here's the math on my actual account. My portfolio right now is at $10,664,000. I'm borrowing at 12% LTV, and that's about $1,200. For my M1 to force a sell on anything, my portfolio would have to drop as far as $1,275 equals 40% of what's left. That means my portfolio would have to fall around $3,187. That's about 70% drop from where I'm at today. Not 10%, not 30%, 70%. At that point, we have a bigger problem than just my phone bills. Now let's compare this to how most people borrow. You take out a personal loan to cover some bills. You borrow $5,000, you lose your job, you still owe $5,000. The lender will be diligent in pursuing that balance through the collections, credit damage, potential judgment. Your income is what they were betting on, and now that bet has pretty much failed. You still owe. A credit card works the same way. Unsecured, based on credit worthiness. If you stop paying, the debt doesn't disappear. It just gets more ugly. Even a HELOC loan, which is a collateral-based loan, it carries real risk. Your house backs it. If you stop paying, you can lose the house. And if the house sells for less than what you owe, you are still on the hook for the difference. With margin, the worst case is different. M1 sells enough shares to zero out your balance. You don't owe anything beyond what the portfolio is worth. The debt is self-liquidating. Lose your job tomorrow, and the loan structure doesn't change. But there is real risk with margin. I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. Forced liquidation almost always happens at the worst possible time. When does your LTV spike? When the market drops. When your portfolio shrinks. That's exactly when you don't want to sell your shares. You'll be locking in those losses at the bottom. That's why keeping LTV low isn't optional. It's the whole game. I stay at 12%, well under the 40% line, so that bad month in the market doesn't force my hand. The structure protects you, but only if you use it the right way. If you borrow up to the limit and the market moves against you, you will get liquidated. That's not the lender being a bad lender. That's the math working exactly as designed. Use the cushion, respect the threshold, don't treat the limit as a target. Here's what I keep coming back to. When I lose my job, not if, when, because most people change jobs eventually, my margin loan doesn't care. My loan doesn't affect my borrowing capacity. My portfolio value does. As long as my portfolio is healthy and my LTV stays low, the loan keeps running. That's a completely different relationship with debt than most people ever experience. My paycheck isn't the collateral, my assets are. And that shifts everything. I'm not building a life that depends on staying employed to service my debt. I'm building a life where the assets service the debt directly. Dividends cover the margin/interest, and the job keeps adding to the portfolio. That's the whole point of this strategy. The loan doesn't follow me, it follows the portfolio. Now, to wrap this up, so when someone asks, what happens if you default? The honest answer is there is no mechanism for traditional defaults. M1 doesn't need to find you. They already have the collateral. The loan is secure by the assets, not your word. That's a cleaner structure than most people will ever get access to. And the fact that it skips the credit check isn't a red flag. It's proof that the model is fundamentally different. If this clicked for you, subscribe. I post every week with real numbers from my portfolio. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting, and I will see you on the next one.